aka MegaBlitzz. In today's video, I'm going to be going over the top 16 deck lists from Toronto Regionals. I did not watch any of the regionals, so I have not a clue what a lot was going on or what the meta breakdown was. I do know that the tried and true single strike Lugia made a huge comeback, and I love to see it. But before we get into the deck list here, don't forget to leave a like, smash the subscribe button, drop a comment down below, ring the notification bells. I really do appreciate the support. Alrighty, let's jump into our top 16 deck lists. Alrighty guys, and here we are with our deck list here. In 16th place, we have Single Strike Lugia. Crazy cool thing to know about this deck is this is almost copy-paste the list I've been playing. The only different thing about this list and my list is I'm playing 1 Collapse Stadium and 4 DTE. I'm also playing 1 Jet Energy. I feel like 1 Jet Energy has to be in this deck. I feel like you have to play Jet Energy when you are playing Single Strike Lugia. It just makes the most sense to me. But I love to see it, and I'm so glad that Single Strike Lugia is finally making a comeback, I guess. People still played it beforehand, but it kind of like took a break when Colorless Lugia took off. But I'm glad to see it's back because it's my preferred version to play Lugia. All right, coming to our 15th place, we have Gardevoir. Nothing too crazy to note about this deck. We've seen Mew EX played in Gardevoir before. It works as a free pivot. You can Psychic Embrace onto it later on. In Mirage Step as well. It's the reversal energy list. It's Gardevoir. This is pretty much going to be the copy-paste 60 you're going to play. This in the second place list as well. There's going to be a little bit of changes, I'm sure, to each of the Gardevoir lists that you're going to find. But the Skeleton 55 or 50 cards or whatever, it's just the same. And it will continue to be the same until Gardevoir leaves. Alrighty. In 14th place here, we have Arceus Charizard. A little more of like a control type variant of Charizard. Playing Pokemon League Headquarters and playing like Radiance Arena and playing Avery and stuff like that. I like this list a lot, but if I'm going to pick up and play Charizard, I'm just going to play Arvenzard or Lost Box Charizard because I feel like those are more superior in my opinion. But I like this list a lot, and it makes a lot of sense. And I like how they are playing the Mew EX because not only is Genome Attacking Hacks very good, especially in like the mirror match if they get put on odd prizes. Also, being able to just restart draw 3 cards is very strong, especially because they don't really have any other draw engine in this deck right now. Like, some lists are playing like Bidoof and Barrel, but this list isn't doing that. So it does make sense for Mew EX to be there to kind of just restart, draw some cards. Alright, coming in our next decks here, we have Chenpai Excalibur. And I cannot express how happy I am to finally see Chenpai Excalibur find its like ideal 60, right? Or its ideal skeleton 50. It makes me really happy because for a while it was like, alright, Palkia Chenpao with this, Chenpao here, and like it just took quite some time to find that perfect 60, but now we've seen this or close to this 60 just perform very well at a lot of regionals, and it makes me very happy to see that. I tell a lot of new players that come to like the store or whatever where I work, and they're like, hey, I want to get competitive Pokemon, what are your thoughts? And I'm like, Chenpao, it has a battle deck, it gives you the general concept of how to play the deck, and it's very strong competitively as well. Being able to just like Radiant Greninja, canceling Cologne, take some prizes, and prey on the Lost Box decks is very strong, and it makes me happy to see it. Already coming in here, we have a Turbo Lost Box deck coming in 13th, or sorry, we have 16, 15, 14, 13, 12. 12. I don't know why I lost track of that, but I did. It's fine. It's not a big deal. All right. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Cut Trekking Shoes from this deck. I don't play Lost Box, and I'm not going to pretend like I'm good at it or anything, but my god, it doesn't make sense. If you guys have any idea why they play Trekking Shoes in this deck, let me know in the comments below. I just want to know why they play it in the deck, because in my head, I'm like, why are we playing 1 copy of Trekking Shoes? Like, dude, just play an additional boss, or like Roxanne, or Iono. Also, 3/4 Sealstone feels a little high to me, But this list is very different because it's running like 4 water energies. So I think this list is just trying to like Radiant Greninja or trying to Dragon AV very early on in the game. And I think that's kind of the hope, which is maybe why they played Trekking Shoes, to be able to just see some extra cards as fast as they can. Alrighty, we have Rapid Box here. Now, I'm glad to see Rapid Box still doing well, especially after NAIC of last year with Cyrus Davis just taking it to the top. I like Spiritomb in this list a lot. It makes a lot of sense. It helps your Mew matchup a lot, which is one of your worst matchups between that and probably Gardevoir. Gardevoir, I guess, isn't a hard match. It's not super bad because you can like double gunner and take care of like their baby stuff, and it makes them think about where they're going to put energies and stuff, because they don't want to put too many damage counters on their things, because then you can just Yoga Loop and double gunner and take advantage of it that way. But Mew VMAX is the reason why they play Spiritomb in this deck, because you just get hosed to it, and it makes sense they would put this in the list because Mew is still a deck, and it will continue to be a deck until it rotates. And it just won a regional recently in Lille. It makes a sense, right? So I totally get why they're playing it. I think 3-4 Sealstone's a little heavy. I think you just play 4 VIP Pass, or, you know, like cut a 4 Sealstone for an additional Irida or something, right? Like, you do not need 3-4 Sealstone. I played 2 in my list for the longest time, and I will continue to play only 2 copies. I see it almost every game, if not most games, and it's fine. You do not need to play 3, I personally think, but it makes sense for them to play 3. I'm not going to spend too much time on this list, just because it's the exact same 60 for the 16th place Single Strike Lugia list. I like it a lot. We know the changes I've made, or changes that are different to my list, but I'm glad to see Single Strike making a comeback here. Alrighty, going to our next deck here, we have Arceus Duraludon VMAX with Tempting Trap Mawile. This deck is really cool, and I want to eventually make time to just plug this into TCG Live and just play a couple games with it, because it looks like so much fun. But I'm really glad also to see Arc Piles making a comeback, especially as someone who played like Arc Pikachu for a little bit. I played like Arc Tina for a little bit, and just, I love, you know, with my Lost Zone deck with where I'm taking Arceus partners and I'm pairing him with the Lost Zone engine is really fun. So I have a little bit of a soft spot for Arc Piles, and I think I will until Arceus leaves. You can put so much underneath Arceus and it can work, right? Dragons, I made a whole video about that. I played the longest game of Pokemon I've ever played in my entire life, playing Arc Regidrogo, like Arc Dragons. Like that was the longest game of Pokemon I've ever played in my life, and it was underneath Arceus. Like, words cannot begin to describe how much I like Arc Piles and how much of a soft spot I have for them. Now, Sharon's Care is really cool in this deck because you can just like, all right, Arceus takes 1 hit, pick it up, promote Duraludon, and start punching with Duraludon. Or Tempting Trap and kind of get that set up a little bit as well. So I do like to see Arctura performing very well here. Alrighty, going into our 8th place here, we have Turbo Lost Box again, but this one teched for the mirror match a little bit more. With its Bravery Charm here in Town Store, being able to find that Bravery Charm to be able to attach to their Dragon IV for 280 hit points, or Miraidon for Raikou for 250 hit points. So this list makes a lot of sense, and I'd like to see it. It's playing Spiritomb to kind of just help out with, I don't know, any decks that play V, so like your Mew, or any like Miraidon, so they can't like Fleetfoot and stuff, because you don't really care, because if you're not going to use your Raikou, then you don't care about Mew anymore, so it doesn't really matter that much. So it makes a lot of sense for them to get rid of it, or just play a Spiritomb in this list. So it's like a little bit of like a mirror match, tech for the control kind of thing. Like it's a controlled like little bit, but more tech for the mirror match, I think. And I like to see it here. Alright, going to our next one. I'm not going to spend too much time on this one either. It's Chimpap Excalibur. The deck is, it's going on a little bit of a tear. It's good, it's strong, and I love to see people just finding the ideal 60 for this list here. Especially with Lost Box being really good. This whole Radiant Greninja, Canceling Cologne combo with cross switchers and stuff. Pretty good. Alrighty, we have another one, literally back-to-back, copy-paste, the exact same list. So, moving into the one after this, We have Lost Zone Gudra coming in 5th place here with Zamazenta as well and Roxanne. And I love Lost Zone Gudra. If I were to pick up and play Lost Zone, I think I would either play this or Lost Tina. I'm more leaning towards this because I love Gudra. Gudra V-Star is one of my favorite cards. Its ability, Moisture Star, is really powerful. Rolling Iron's a really, really strong attack. 200 damage. It takes 80 less, and I love that attack. It's very strong. I love the fact that this plays Roxanne in the deck because I personally believe that anytime you play a Lost Zone deck, you play one Roxanne. Now, something else to note as well about this deck is it's still possible for you to Moonlight Shuriken because we are playing 3 water energies and you can super rod them back in. And that's what I like about this list a lot is Greninja and like Lost Zone decks that play like Gudra can also still benefit with Greninja. Turbo Lost Box can benefit with Greninja as well because Dragonite, but Gudra still does also. But the nice part about Lost Gudra is not only do you get the benefit with Greninja, you get the benefit with Zamazenta. Retaliate 100 plus damage if your Pokemon was knocked out. If any of my Pokemon were knocked out, then I can do 120 additional damage. So if any of your Pokemon were knocked out during your opponent's last turn, this attack does 100 more 20 damage. So it doesn't need to be knocked out by like an attack or anything, right? Like it just needs to be knocked out in general. So like if you're playing against Rapid Box and you're like, all right, double gunner and something gets KO'd, doesn't matter how it gets KO'd as long as it gets KO'd. And ability Metal Shield, if this Pokemon has any energy attacks, takes 30 less damage. I love to see that. Alrighty, going into our next deck here, we have another Single Strike Lugia. Now, before speaking as a Single Strike Lugia player, when we had played Single Strike Urshifu V and VMAX, we had played it with Canceling Cologne as well for Arcdumbreon. Now, they're not playing the Canceling Cologne in this list, and my thought process is, okay, why wouldn't they play the Canceling Cologne? Well, we saw in our Arcdura deck earlier that they're playing Path to the Peak as well. So my thought process is, okay, if we're playing Path to the Peak also, then it just makes sense for you to just not even play Canceling Cologne. Because if they're going to play Path to the Peak and put it down, then you can just KO it with Single Strike Urshifu VMAX. Because it shuts off the ability of the whole Special Energy ordeal, right? So you kind of just expect them to be like, all right, I'm playing a Single Strike, Lugia, okay, well, Tyranitar and all that stuff. But then you're like, all right, Single Strike Urshifu V. And they're like, oh, I already played Path. I don't have a way to bump that. And I'm like, you're just looking at your hand and you're like, I ain't going to play this Messagoza or this Collapsed Stadium either. So I already got my stuff raring to go, So it makes a lot of sense why they're not playing Canceling Cologne. But I think going forward after Toronto, people, especially with this place coming in 4th, people are going to expect Canceling Cologne to be in here. So you're definitely going to want to watch out for that as well. And people will start to realize, oh, okay, Lugia is starting to play Single Strike Urshifu V and VMAX again. So you're going to want to add Canceling Cologne somewhere in your list just so you can kind of help out with that. All right, coming in our 3rd place here, we have Arven Charizard EX. I love this deck a lot. The penny makes a lot of sense to be able to pick up, your Lumineon, so it's not a free prize, just free 2 prizes hanging out on the bench. Pick up Entei if it's damaged or whatever, and you play 2 less Fat Game to make sure you can get rid of Path. Also, Forest Sealstone with Lumineon makes a lot of sense. You could play Pidgeot, but I feel like Lumineon's just a better pick because you can just penny it back up later. Now, the fact that you can just go Forest Sealstone Star Alchemy, find a card, and then Pidgeot every turn to also find a card is insane. Why draw cards if you can just find the ones you need, right? So this list is really cool. If I were to pick up and play Charizard, it would be either Arvenzard or Lost Zone Charizard. This list is definitely something I really want to try out. I have been dabbling a little bit in Arvenzard, and right now I'm playing the Pidgeot V with Forest Sealstone. But I'm not playing a penny either. I think I'm just playing like an additional like Lost City or additional Choice Boat or something. But this list makes a lot of sense, so I might just have to take this list and input it in live and throw some games with it. Alrighty, coming to our second place here, we have Mirage Step Reversal Energy Gardevoir. It's almost exactly the same as the previous Gardevoir list we had saw. Nothing too crazy about it, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this list. Gardevoir is Gardevoir. Gardevoir will grind out you game 1, win the game, go to game 2, and hope that you can't win that fast, because Gardevoir is a very long and time-consuming, and it just is a grindy deck to play. And it makes sense that it's at the top. It's a good deck. It's very powerful. And, I mean, we've seen Todd Reklev play it at Worlds. We've seen people win, take it to regionals, perform very well with it. Gardevoir will be a deck we're going to have to worry about for quite some time. I'm very curious to see what will happen once we have, like, Baby Shining Arcana Gardevoir and stuff rotate out. But for now, we're hanging out, and Gardevoir will be here for quite some time. Alrighty, coming to our first place deck here, we have Miraidon EX, or Mid-Rhydon EX, but it's not so mid, and we've known it hasn't been mid for quite some time. When Andrew Mahone took it to Worlds, it made top 32 with the deck. This deck, the only thing this deck needed to seal its spot as like a really big, like, oh my gosh, this deck is a real huge contender, was a finish. It needed a first place finish to finish it out, and it finally got one, and words cannot begin to describe how happy I am that this deck finally got one. I have been contemplating a little bit to picking up and playing Miraidon. I play it online from time to time, but I haven't played it in person, and I like this list. What JW has done with this list, I like a lot. You're playing high energy count, you're playing Mew EX with your additional free pivot, restart to be able to just draw some cards, because sometimes your hand does get a little thin and a little low when playing Miraidon. But it's also, its attack genome hacking is very strong. If you can manage to get 3 energies onto this and then just like take some KOs with it later on in the game, very strong. Zapdos makes sense because you just do additional damage. Flying Pikachu V with a free pivot, and its attack flies pretty good because if you hit heads, then they can't take damage. The Flying Pikachu can't take damage. Squawk ability to be able to just discard because Miraidon is just trying to go fast, and it makes a lot of sense here. And I am super happy that this list finally got what it deserved. I'm so glad Miraidon got the win it deserves. So many people represent Miraidon. So many people play Miraidon. I mean, we have the Ohio crew with like JW and Jesse Parker and Andrew Mahone, and we have like other people like Christian from Sneaker Talk and all these people just jam Miraidon. They play Miraidon all the time, and all this deck needed was a win. And certain people at my locals play it. One of my good buddies has been playing it a lot recently, and I'm so happy it finally got the win it deserved. Alrighty, guys, but for now, let's jump into that outro. Alrighty, and here we are, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate the support and going through those top 16 deck lists with me from Toronto Regionals. Let me know what deck list you guys would have played if you hadn't gone to Toronto Regionals. I probably would have played Single Strike Lugia just because it's my home. It's the deck I know the best. It's the deck I've been playing a lot, and it was positioned very well for this regional also, which pretty cool, especially because of how close I live to Toronto. I'm only like a handful of hours drive away. But don't forget to leave a like, smash the subscribe button, drop a comment down below, ring the notification bells. I really would appreciate it. Alrighty, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Peace!